What's up, everybody? You know what day it is. It's time for your next dose of Warrior Wednesday with your host, that Wounded Warrior guy. That's me. And today is part three of my Why Sleep is Important series, where I give you guys tips, tricks, and information to potentially, hopefully, help you improve your overall quality of sleep. But before we get into this video, I want to remind you guys, if you wouldn't mind throwing me a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so, sharing this video, do one of those things for me, I would really appreciate it. Without further ado, guys, we're going to hop right into it. So, like I said, this is part three of this series of why sleep is important. And today, we're going to go a little bit into the brain chemistry, into the effects of the body of sleep deprivation. I have covered my personal methods of improving my quality of sleep. I have covered additional techniques such as meditation, mindfulness, things of that nature. I've given you guys the information of how to improve your quality of sleep. Today, we're going to go over why you should improve your quality of sleep. What effects does sleep deprivation have on the mind, on the body, and why it's important that we correct that lack of rest. So, just going to hop right into it. Going to pull up my notes and we'll just get right into it. So, guys, always take this information for what it is. I'm not trying to tell people, what they need to be doing. I'm just trying to offer up my personal opinion through the experiences that I've been through. Every person is different. So, if you're somebody that can have 5 hours of sleep and you've never had any issues, then, that's fine. A lot of people aren't like that, though. A lot of people, lack of sleep can increase their risk to fall into old habits, can really make small issues in their life big problems. For a lot of us wounded warriors and veterans dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD, social anxiety, any type of erratic behavior, lack of sleep is just going to increase our risk to have further issues or more of a difficult time with those current problems, those current things that we're battling. So, sleep is important. However, take this information in these videos for what they are. They're my personal experiences, my personal opinions. Doesn't mean that they apply to everybody. Doesn't mean that I expect everybody to be like me. I don't expect everybody to listen to these videos. However, if these videos can go out there and help one person, then I am doing my job. So, we're going to hop into it. Why sleep is important. Well, number one, it's a pretty big one. Testosterone. A lack of sleep can lower testosterone levels and increase an individual's likelihood to not be able to be fertile down the line, not be able to have children. It also means that you will have less energy. You will age faster. If from the age of 20 to the age of 50, you're getting 4 hours of sleep every single night, I guarantee you at 50 years old, you're going to look like you're 75. You're not going to look like a 50-year-old man. You're not going to look like a 50-year-old woman. You're not going to operate like you're 50 years old. So it is important for your testosterone levels. If you are, you know, planning on having children, if you notice that, you know, you're aging faster than you would hope to be, you know, sleep could be a potential part of the reasons why you're having issues in those departments. Number two, increases buildup of toxic proteins in the brain that increase your chances of having Alzheimer's and dementia later on in life. So I watched a couple videos about brain chemistry, and apparently when our mind shuts down and we go to sleep, there's a toxic chemical. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's one of those chemistry words. But there's a toxic chemical in the brain that gets purged, that gets flushed, gets filtered out. If our brain isn't shutting down, and if we aren't getting that full, you know, the proper amount of rest, then our body is unable to get rid of that toxic protein. And when that toxic protein is allowed to continue to build up, it can cause dementia, it can cause Alzheimer's. And it kind of goes into my third point. It affects the brain's ability to store new memories and experiences. So if you are constantly operating on, say, 3 hours of sleep, there's going to be a lot of things that happen that you cannot, with specific descriptions, remember, right? Like when we go into sleep deprivation, when we are physically exhausted, when we've been up for 24 hours straight, you might remember what you did, where you were, who you was with, but can you remember that conversation that you had with that person 24 hours in that lasted 3 minutes? Can you remember what that person looked like that flipped you off on the highway whenever you were walking home? Can you remember very, very specific things? Your mind is designed to take in that information and store it as new memories. Might not store it very long, but it'll still store it as a new memory, as a new experience, something that you can still recall back to. If you are physically exhausted and you're not getting enough sleep, your mind starts to have more and more of a difficult time uploading those new memories. That's why we see that a lot of times people who experience sleep deprivation, people who experience insomnia, long stages of that, eventually they go into where they are having difficulty remembering anything, not just new memories, but old memories. And then they're at high risk of having dementia later on in their lives. So as you can see, guys, this is not something that once you fix it, it's done. These are things that if you don't correct them at the appropriate time, they can have long-lasting effects. So it is very, very important. Next, compromises the body's immune system and increases the risk for specific cancers, such as cancers of the bowel, prostate, and breast cancer. So apparently, when your body doesn't get enough rest, doesn't get enough sleep, there are, I think, antibodies or certain types of immune support cells that do not regenerate or do not populate the proper way when you don't have the proper amount of rest. Therefore, that leaves you open to other medical dangers such as cancer. It lowers your immune system's ability to fight off those types of things. So it raises your risk of having serious medical issues if you're dealing with sleep deprivation over a long span of time. Next, we have affects the cardiovascular system and contributes to high blood pressure and increases a person's likelihood to have a fatal heart attack and or stroke. I mean, that one is just kind of makes sense to me. Your body doesn't shut down. You're trying to push it too hard. Your body is overworking itself, right? Like if you start up a car and you run an engine too long, the engine's going to explode. The engine's going to fail. The machine's going to fail. It's designed to go so far before it's done. The same thing with the body. You don't rest, if you don't recover, if you don't if you don't turn off or shut down the body, your heart's going to fail. Your body's going to fail. It's eventually going to get to a point to where it's just done and it's not going to be able to function anymore. And that leads to things like high blood pressure, which then is a main contributing factor that causes fatal heart attacks and strokes. So, a lack of sleep over an expanded period of time can increase your risk of experiencing or having a fatal heart attack and or stroke at some point in your lifetime. My last point here kind of ties into it. This has actually been confirmed through studies conducted. So researchers over past several years have been conducting studies on sleep deprivation during daylight savings time the day after we lose an hour. What they have found throughout these studies is that the day after daylight savings time in which we lose an hour of sleep, there was a 20% increase in heart attacks and strokes nationwide from just losing 1 hour of sleep. I don't know what the age brackets are, the demographics for that are, but studies were conducted and they concluded that just every year annually losing that 1 hour of sleep caused a 20% increase in heart attacks and strokes nationwide. So guys, that just goes to show you like how important that extra hour of sleep is. How important having a balanced sleep schedule is. And man, it just kind of puts it into perspective. I think for a lot of military people, me as well, whenever I was still in the military, I think that we have created this mentality that we don't need sleep, you know? Like if we don't get sleep, no big deal. Put down a bang, go to Dunkin', get to work, suck it up, rub some dirt on it, keep on going. Sometimes, yeah, you got to do that, right? When you get out of the military, when you're no longer in that situation where you got to be up for 3 days with, every so often taking a 15-minute power nap, looking back on those types of things, you can always say, yeah, man, I was a badass. All right, cool. You still got to take care of yourself. I think it's hard for a lot of veterans to break out of that mentality, to tell themselves it's all right to take a knee. It's all right to rest the mind, take care of myself. You don't want to burn that fuse all the way down all the time, right? And I think for a lot of veterans, a lot of wounded warriors, even those that aren't just, those that don't suffer from the horrifying nightmares, those that aren't, you know, so anxious and depressed that they just physically can't shut their mind off. I feel like we have a difficult time just telling ourselves, it's all right to sleep. It's all right to get rest. It's all right to take care of ourselves. It's okay to put ourselves first because that's not how we've been programmed. We have never been programmed to put ourselves first at all. And so when we leave the military, last person we ever think about is ourselves. So, you know, take that for what it is. I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do. You know, a lot of you people watching this channel, you're grown ass individuals. You make your own decisions. I'm just trying to put information out there, hopefully reach somebody that's having a difficult time to help them have less of a difficult time. That's all I'm trying to do. And if you are one of those individuals who are having difficult time and you do not have you do not get a lot of good sleep, your quality of sleep is not where it should be, and you're seeing physical, mental, and emotional effects from that, try some of these techniques. You know, use this information in this video to help yourself improve those areas, to improve that quality of sleep. And you're gonna see changes. You're gonna see improvements in your mood, in your overall physical health, in your mental health. You're gonna see those improvements. Like, there's a lot of science that's backing how important sleep is for the mind and the body. So, take it for what it is, guys. Use the information. Don't use the information. Um, I just hope that, these videos and these series, I love doing these series with you guys. I really do. It allows me to go out there and do the research, and I'm learning things too, and I'm using these things. I'm not just telling you guys to go out and do these things and then me just, not giving a crap about it. I'm doing these things too because these are areas in my life that I have an issue with. So, you know, nobody's alone. Um, everybody's got somebody that can understand their situation. So, guys, I'm always here for you. If you ever need anything, reach out to me. You can always comment on the video itself, or you can reach out to me in my private email that I put down low in the description. I'm available basically 24/7. And yeah, if you need additional information, I'm always here for you. So that concludes this Warrior Wednesday. I hope that y'all got something out of this video. I love doing these videos. I got to start brainstorming about what the next series is going to be. But next week it's probably just going to be kind of a progress report on everything that I got going on as far as school, as far as physical fitness, as far as group therapy, all those kind of things. That's what you can expect from me. And until then, as always, even if you don't realize it, even if you don't believe it, there's a warrior in every single one of you. And I see it. Take care.